Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here once again, and today we have another Destiny 2 tier list video for you. This one is going to be going over all of the Destiny 2 characters. And now I'm going to stick to Destiny 2 and not really include much from Destiny 1, where I think they rank as characters, how much I like them, how much involvement in the story they've had, and all that kind of good stuff. I'm very excited about this. I know not everyone's going to agree with my takes, as always with these tier lists, but that's part of the fun, right? So definitely let me know in the comments down below what you think of my tier list and where you would rank these characters personally. Tag me in your own tier list as well. I would love to see yours. And make sure you like the video and subscribe. We're going to have a lot of Destiny content leading up to and then through Witch Queen. I can't wait. I'm super excited about this. And I'm sure some of these rankings are going to change as we progress more in the story. But this is where I feel they rank right now. And I'm just going to jump into it. Now, first and foremost, we have the Spider. Now, he's a character who I kind of like. When we first met him at Forsaken, I really enjoyed his kind of dark vibe, but like an uneasy alliance that we had with him. So I really enjoyed that. But unfortunately, he hasn't been involved enough with me since then. And so for that reason, I'm going to give him a C ranking. I do like his character. I do think there's room, potential for growth there if it's explored. I know the Tangled Shore is going away, but we'll see what happens with the Spider going forward. Overall, I think he could have been a little bit better utilized, but for what he was, I thought he was a good addition to the story for sure. Next, we have Mythrax. This is one of my favorite arcs in all of Destiny. We had him as a early NPC who we didn't know the name of, really. And you had the choice basically to kill him or let him live. And canon-wise, we did let him live. And for that, we've developed a alliance with the Elixir. I really enjoy the progression, the arc there. So I'm going to give Mythrax an A tier. I think forming alliance with former enemies is always an interesting idea in video games, and this is one that's paid off really, really well. So I do very much enjoy it. Now we're going to look at Banshee and Clovis. Banshee, the big head that we saw in the Beyond Light story. I did enjoy the storyline when it dropped. However, I feel like we just haven't really revisited it. And for that reason, a lot of the characters that are higher up on this list, you're going to see them there because we've seen them multiple times in the story or they've left an impact. This story was interesting at the time, but didn't leave a lasting impression. And unfortunately, for that reason, drops down to C tier for me personally. And overall, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy that story, and I hope we see more from the Clovis Bray line overall. But unfortunately for that, I'm gonna leave it C tier for now. Very can be an interesting character, but just not enough impact there. Now we've got Crow / Aldrin. Aldrin obviously here, unfortunately, but it is what it is. But then Crow actually has a redemption arc. I'm gonna put an S tier. Now, I know not everyone's going to agree with this one. Some people hate Crow, don't want to see him anywhere in the game. Me, personally, I think his character adds a lot to the game. And seeing the arc and where he's come from and where he's gone has had a real meaningful impact on the story. And for that reason, he's going to be S tier. I do enjoy Crow quite a bit as a character, his interactions, his playing both sides with trying to be allied with the Elixir and all that kind of stuff as well. So I enjoy it. I think it's a good kind of addition to the story. The Traveler. I know the Traveler narratively and lore-wise is very impactful, but unfortunately we don't see enough like direct impact. We've had maybe one cutscene that actually involves the Traveler in D2. And for me overall, just not... It's like a overarching kind of theme, more so than an ever-present character that we interact with more than just on occasion. So for that reason, it's going to drop a little bit for me to D tier. Just it's there, it's background, but it's not really impactful all the time, and really something that we can acknowledge. This is the Emissary of the Nine. Foreboding, interesting. I do enjoy the character, but again, not really present all the time. Doesn't have a major impact on the main storyline. For that reason, I'm going to drop it down to a C tier for me personally. Anna Bray, A tier. Now, she's one that could go to S depending on if we see her return and more interactions with her. I would love to see a cutscene with her and the Exo Stranger. I feel like that would be awesome and really kind of propelled the story forward, the narrative of those two being sisters, having that awesome kind of back and forth. I think that would be great. And hopefully we do someday. Petrovenge, B. She held it down in the Dreaming City. I think the work we saw with her in Forsaken was really, really cool. Her as a vendor, she just left a lasting impression on me personally, and I think she's really dope. And hopefully, she isn't lost in the shuffle and we don't see her again for some time. Hopefully, we get some interaction with her this year as well going forward. Now we've got the Exo Stranger right here. If this included D1, it might drop down a little bit. Unfortunately, we didn't see her enough until Beyond Light to really make a mark. She was there, just like in D1, there for short spurts, but when she was around, she was hugely impactful in the story, and for that reason, she's an A for me. I do like her design. I like everything about her. The two sisters are great. I hope we do see that yin and yang eventually with the two of them. That would be awesome. Ghost is going to be a B. I kind of like the Ghost more in D1, to be honest. I feel like there was more that the Ghost kind of did for us, but now it's kind of fallen back a little bit. In D1, I'd probably say Ghost was S tier, but for D2, B tier. It's always there, always talking, kind of takes the lead narratively, but I just don't care for it a whole lot. Failsafe. Failsafe kind of annoying at times, kind of funny at times. So a little bit of both. Hasn't really had a major impact outside of being the planet vendor and talking to us through strikes and stuff. So because of that, I'm going to drop it down to a C. Not my favorite planetary vendor, also not my least favorite. So right there for you. Next, we got Ikora. Ikora is iconic. She's fantastic. Unfortunately, at times, she's been kind of pushed to the background. So for that reason, I'm going to drop her down to an A. I like her a lot. I feel like she can be awesome. Unfortunately, we just don't see her often enough when there are crucial moments. And for that reason, I drop her down a little bit. I do enjoy Ikora a lot. I think she's a fantastic character. And when we get cutscenes with throwing Nova Bombs and stuff, awesome. Give me more of that and I'll be happy. Marisov, I'm going to put A. A lot of people sin for Marisov, and I get it. She is a fantastic character as well. I just don't like her return as much as I've liked Saint 14, as much as I like Crow. So for that reason, I'm going to drop her down a bit because she's just not... the story just doesn't do it for me like it does with the other characters. And so I haven't seen the progression in the arc that I would love to see with her. We got Hideo here, D. The factions haven't been a non-factor in Destiny 2, and so they've all left since the kind of rebellion, basically, from Lakshmi, so I'm going to drop him down quite a bit because of that. Zur actually gets a major boost because of the latest 30th anniversary update. The Dares of Eternity are hilarious. I like him a lot. I'm going to put him in B tier. Again, as just a vendor, kind of a little bit lower. Don't see him that often. But with the return, with the Dares of Eternity, with the 30th anniversary, I found that event and his interaction with Storehorse to be fantastic. Drifter, A tier. Now, if we could get more with Shin Malphur and the Drifter story, if we get an actual cutscene with that and some really dope story, all in. I feel like that would bump him to A, S tier. Same thing with Shin Malphur. I think that could be an amazing story to tell, an amazing strike, dungeon, whatever the case may be, where we kind of interact with the two of them. And I feel like that'd be awesome. Next, our boy, S tier Cade. Unfortunately, that's where he belongs because I loved him as a character. I thought his wit and his levity that he brought to the game was important, and it's really missing at times. I feel like we need another humorous character to kind of cut the edge in Destiny 2 sometimes, but that's just me personally. That said, I think killing him off was probably a good idea overall. I think it was hugely impactful when it happened as well, so I think that's important. We got Osiris. Osiris is A tier. He was one of the most misused characters in all of Destiny, I think through Destiny 1, and then not seeing him at all, really in Destiny 2. And once we did, I think now that we've actually had some interaction, some seen him evolve, his interactions with Saint 14, A tier, phenomenal character, and we're gonna see a lot more of him, I would imagine, or at least find out exactly what's going on once Witch Queen does hit. He could be the one to kick the bucket. Unfortunately, we'll see. Who knows? But I think that's could be very interesting. Devrim K, my favorite planetary vendor is Devrim K. I enjoy his interactions quite a bit. I would love to see a little bit more. A little side tail with him would be really cool. I would love that. But until then, I think of all the planetary vendors, of all the voices in our head when we're doing strikes and whatnot, he is definitely my favorite. Amanda Holiday. I'm going to put her at B2. When we have cutscenes with Amanda where she flies in, or you hear over the comms that she comes to save us or whatever, I feel like that's really cool, and I wish they would do more of that. I know when we went to the Almighty, right? And she was helping out with that. That was awesome. So I do enjoy her, and I'm going to throw her up at B tier. We're going to go with Callus. Callus is going to be also B. Now, I feel like one of the biggest missed opportunities is having more interaction with Callus and talking to him and meeting the actual Callus, or at least talking to his droid figure that we've seen in the Leviathan raid. Something like that I think would be really cool. And those are the interactions I feel like are missed out, because he is the perfect kind of middle ground between enemies and allies within the Destiny 2 frame. Lakshmi. Unfortunately, her rebellion did not succeed. She got tricked by the Vex, and now she paid the price for it. So she has kind of thrown off the entire faction system in all of Destiny 2, and she has kicked the bucket because of it. So, Soraya Hawthorne. Again, she's much like Amanda Holiday. I find her interesting at times. I wish she had more involvement because I know some folks don't like her, but the Red War campaign has been left behind. But her in the beginning, where her hawk or falcon leads us to the path, all that stuff was really, really cool. And she's another character that I wish would have more involvement in some of the day-to-day activities when we're doing our seasonal activities. That would be really cool. Speaker, poor Speaker, man. Not really. I thought he was kind of a jerk, and I'm glad he kicked the bucket, because it's definitely freed up the leadership of the tower. Now we don't have that kind of cult issue going on, so yeah, he belongs right there in my personal opinion, and good riddance. Next up, we got Kaido. Kaido is interesting. Kaido, I think, is C just because we've only seen her for the one season, and that's really unfortunate for me, because I feel like her interactions with Zavala are dope, and I cannot wait to see where that story heads. This is just a gut feeling from we've seen the new exotic. That's the season pass. It looks like a Cabal exotic. We've seen some Cabal armor. I have a strong feeling we're going to be seeing Kaido next season alongside the launch of Witch Queen. Don't hold me to that, but I would guess that's the case. 801 is going to be a D for me. We just haven't seen enough of her, right? We saw the one season built around the Forges, but since then she hasn't had a whole lot to do, so she's going to drop down a little bit on the list for me. Our grandma, I know this is kind of blasphemous, I'm going to put her at C, but like, she comes around for the events, same old for her. She's very nice, I like her character, but unfortunately no real impact on the story overall. The Cryptarch, again, he's a vendor. He's interesting. I know people hate him, people love him, but he's whatever to me. Doesn't really play a part in my personal opinion, so I don't really have an opinion either way. Rasputin. I wish this was higher, because I feel like in D1 we saw like menacing Rasputin, and we haven't. I know we saw that in Warmind a little bit, but it just wasn't enough for me to really have that long lasting, like, okay, I understand. And then he unfortunately is gone, shut down now, so for that reason he drops a little bit. And I do wish he was we would see more from Rasputin. A cool cutscene, a cool event where Rasputin helps would be awesome. So I know we had that in the end of season thing, but it wasn't really, it was kind of slower, not it didn't live up to the hype, unfortunately. Asher Ramirez. This is gonna be a tough one. I know everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, he's dead," but I think there have been hints that he's living still in the Vex network. So I'm gonna put him at D. People may not agree with me, but when I was doing the Whisper mission when it first came out, and all I heard over and over and over and over again, Cabal again. Oh my, get him out of here. It was the most annoying voice. I was not mad at all that he was put to the wayside. So he might come back. Maybe we'll have some interactions. Maybe we'll get an exotic with him like infused in it. Something crazy like that. But yeah, overall, I'm glad he's gone. Dead Orbit guy, Rockjaral. Again, no real impact on the story in D2. D1, this might be a little bit different with these two, but D2, not so much. And then Tyre Karn, same thing. Not really much going on in D2, unfortunately. So right there, D tier. I wish we saw more. Shahan, one of my least favorite characters, the least memorable characters in all of Destiny, unfortunately. I wish he was cooler. Hopefully they give us a cutscene with him eventually to make him seem like a badass. But unfortunately, now that is not the case. Shire 4, okay, so I know I've said a lot about not being involved in D2, but I'm going to bump him up to C tier. The potential of this character has me excited. I feel like there's a lot there that we might see that'll be like, okay, this could be really awesome. Unfortunately, just haven't seen it to fruition at this point. So, Shire 4, maybe the Hunter Vanguard eventually, maybe just a character that we'll never see come to pass, but hopefully eventually we do see that. So, Eris Mourne. This is going to surprise some people, but we're going S tier for her. Now, the reasoning that I have is that she has had such an impact on the story through multiple expansions. I like her character. She got that dark vibe. I think we're going to see her in the Witch Queen as well. There's so much going on with her that I find her to be very interesting, and I think she's an S tier character overall. The way they've built her up from D1 to D2, lots of interesting stuff going on there, so I'm really excited about that. The Darkness is going to be another D for me at this point. Unfortunately, there just hasn't been anything new or exciting with the Darkness that we've seen, so for that reason, it bumps down. Like nothing in the story involving the Darkness, like them, they haven't been influential enough for me personally in D2, just with the pyramid ships and stuff. They were like, it was cool when Beyond Light dropped and we saw the pyramid ships and we got Stasis, etc. But just we haven't heard the whispers. There hasn't been enough bite there yet that I would like to see. Ephraim goes alongside Shiro 4 in a character I would love to see return. I know she's a pacifist at this point, but unfortunately just not in D2 for whatever reason, and that's kind of a bummer for me. Tess Everest is whatever, like another NPC who we don't see a whole lot of involvement in the game, and for that reason it's going to be a D. Now we're getting to the heavy hitters. Now there might be some controversy here, but I'm a Titan main, so you know this is going to be interesting for me. We're going Shaxx. Shaxx is actually not going to be B. Shaxx is going to be A. Now, I considered putting Shaxx in S tier. And if we got to see more Shaxx, if I've mentioned this online, if we get a story from Bungie, for me personally, I want Warlord Shaxx era. I feel like that would be insane. That would be awesome. That would be legit. And that's what I want to see. But unfortunately, we haven't seen Shaxx in action. And that's what I'm missing, and that's what I would love to see. Saladin. Saladin's actually a B for me. And the reason is I don't like his character, but I think I'm not supposed to like his character, so I like his character. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but what it means is he's kind of like hard-headed, he's stubborn and old and grouchy, but you have him versus Crow in the old versus new dichotomy that I really like, and I am interested in seeing the growth or betrayal, whatever may come with Saladin eventually. I think that'll be interesting, because he's like a grouchy old man, but I do like that they've had, you got to have a variety of characters, and he's definitely one of them. Zavala is interesting for a lot of people. I know many would put him here at C, especially after Forsaken. I'm not. I'm going to bump him up a little bit, all the way to S tier. Everyone can disagree with me if you want to. I love Zavala. I love his voice actor. I love his character. I think as someone who was in the military, I sympathize with a commander making those hard decisions, not wanting to lose any more troops. I know everyone wants to rush in. It's a video game. It wants to be fun. But there's a hint of realism there of him being forlorn and worried about losing more troops on top of Cade when he passed. Saint 14. Now we get to an interesting one. Saint 14 is my favorite character in the game. S tier all the way, and I absolutely love him. His development since he's returned to the game has been a huge impact. I cannot wait to see what's next with him. I know the stuff with Osiris is crazy right now, but overall his growth, you've seen him be hard-headed and stubborn as he was learning to kind of get to know the Elixni, as he's getting to know Crow and all of that. I think him and Crow, it's been wonderful storytelling, and I absolutely love him. He's my favorite character right now. And then we've got our Guardian. Not a whole lot to be said. Average, right? You know? But no, you got to put S tier. The Guardian has had such an impact. I know we don't have a lot of voice lines or anything like that, but you can't put him anywhere other than S. So that's where the list is going to fall for me. Let me know if you do agree, disagree, what you find on the list to be completely wrong. I think overall this is a damn near perfect list. My S tier is absolutely S tier. My name is JoPaWrites. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all later.